My name is Nicole, and this is the story of how my life changed completely, twice. We lived in a beautiful house in Vermont, surrounded by pine trees that seemed to touch the sky. My father, James, was the CEO of Mitchell Electronics, the company my grandfather had built from scratch decades ago. Dad wasn't born into wealth, he earned my grandparents' trust through hard work after meeting my mom in college. The company was doing great. Grandpa and Grandma had moved to Florida for retirement, enjoying the sunshine and the substantial dividends from the business they'd entrusted to Dad. They'd visit during holidays, and Grandpa would always say the same thing, "James, my boy, you're doing even better than I did." I was too young to understand the complexities of business back then, but I knew we were happy. Dad worked hard but always made time for me. He taught me to ride a bike, helped with my math homework, and never missed a school play. Then came that awful day when Dad started feeling unwell. At first, we thought it was just exhaustion from work. But the doctors' faces told a different story: cancer, aggressive and spreading fast. I watched my strong, vibrant father waste away in months. "Nicole, sweetheart," he called me to his hospital bed one day, his voice barely a whisper. "Promise me you'll take care of your mother." I nodded, fighting back tears. "I promise, Daddy." He died 3 days later. I thought that was the worst thing that could happen to our family. Mom was devastated, and so was I. We clung to each other in those first few months, trying to navigate our new reality without him. But then Robert came into the picture. My stepfather. Just 6 months after Dad died, Mom started dating him. 3 months later, they were married. It all happened so fast, too fast. "You'll see, Nicole," Mom said, glowing with happiness. "Robert will be good for us. He'll help run the company, and we'll be a family again." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But every time Robert acted sweet and caring in front of my grandparents, then turned around and muttered under his breath about them, I knew something wasn't right. "Your grandparents are so generous," he'd say when they were around, his voice dripping with charm. But once they left, he'd change completely. "Those old fossils think they're doing me a favor," I overheard him say on the phone one day. "Having to kiss up to them is driving me insane." I should have told someone then. Maybe if I had, everything that came later could have been prevented. But I was just a kid, trying to keep my promise to my dad about taking care of Mom. In a while, and I watched in disbelief as Mom campaigned to make Robert the new CEO of Mitchell Electronics. The way she looked at him, it was like she couldn't see anything else in the world. She'd hang on his every word, laugh at his jokes, and defend him against any criticism, no matter how slight. The real battle started when Grandpa announced he was considering bringing in an outside CEO. I was there during that video call, watching the tension play out on everyone's faces. "Listen, Sarah," Grandpa said to Mom, his voice firm but gentle. "We need someone with fresh perspective, someone without personal complications." "Personal complications?" Mom's voice rose. "Dad, Robert is family now." "Why would you trust an outsider over family?" "Because sometimes family is exactly who you shouldn't trust with business," Grandma chimed in, always the practical one. But Mom wouldn't let it go. Day after day, she called them, sent emails, listed Robert's qualifications. "He has an MBA from Wharton," she'd say. "He's managed multiple companies. Do you want to hand over our family legacy to some stranger?" I watched my grandparents' resistance crumble, bit by bit. Finally, after weeks of Mom's relentless persuasion, they agreed. "You're right," Grandpa finally said during another video call. "The company should stay in the family." Robert got what he wanted. I was 12 then. 2 years passed, and I turned 14. Life settled into a routine: school, homework, trying to avoid Robert whenever possible. Then came that day that changed everything. I came home early from school because of a canceled basketball practice. The house was quiet, but I heard voices coming from Robert's home office. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but something in the tone made me stop outside the door. You need to slow down with these foreign transfers, a man's voice I recognized as Mr. Peterson, our company accountant, was saying. It's getting too obvious. We'll both end up in handcuffs if you're not careful. The amounts are too large. Robert's response was calm, almost amused. Relax, I've got it all under control. I know exactly what I'm doing. But sir. Listen, Robert's voice hardened. That old man is paying me peanuts to run his precious company. If he wasn't so damn greedy, I wouldn't need to compensate myself this way. This is what I deserve. I must have made some small noise, because suddenly Robert's eyes were locked on mine through the doorway. His face went from angry to smooth in an instant. Nicole, this isn't what you think, he stammered, standing up quickly. Mr. Peterson and I were just discussing some routine company matters. Nothing for you to worry about, sweetie. But I had heard enough. The fake smile on his face couldn't hide what I'd just witnessed. My hands were shaking as I backed away from the door. This doesn't concern you, Robert called after me, his voice carrying that subtle threat I'd grown so used to. Just forget about what you heard. I spent hours in my room, pacing back and forth, trying to decide what to do. The conversation I'd overheard kept playing in my head like a broken record. Robert was stealing from my grandparents, from our family company. The company my grandfather built, that my dad had run with such integrity. Finally, around dinner time, I heard Robert's car leave the driveway. This was my chance. I found Mom in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for dinner. Mom, I started, my heart pounding. I need to tell you something important. I overheard something today, in Robert's office. I took a deep breath and told her everything, about the foreign accounts, the hidden shortages, what Robert had said about Grandpa. The change in her face was instant. The smile vanished, replaced by something hard and cold I'd never seen before. She put down the knife with a sharp clang. Stop right there, she snapped. Stop lying about my husband. I stepped back, shocked by her reaction. Mom, I'm not lying, I heard them. Mr. Peterson was there too, he. Enough, she slammed her hand on the counter. I've known Robert for 2 years. He would never do something like that. But Mom, I heard. No, she cut me off again, her voice rising. I see what this is. You've never given Robert a chance. Nothing he does is ever good enough for you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This isn't about whether I like him or not. He's stealing. You are such a selfish, ungrateful girl, Mom was shouting now, her face red. Robert has done nothing but try to be good to you. He's helped with your homework, taken you to your games, tried to be a father to you. He's not my father, I screamed back. Dad would never steal from Grandpa. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Mom's voice was shrill. You're just trying to cause problems. You want us to fight with Robert. You've been trying to sabotage this marriage from the beginning. That's not true. Tears were streaming down my face now. I'm trying to protect our family. Protect? She laughed, but it wasn't her normal laugh. It was something ugly and harsh. You're trying to destroy the only happiness I've found since your father died. You're just a jealous, spiteful child who can't stand to see her mother happy again. Mom, please, I begged, just listen to me. No, you listen to me, she hissed, stepping closer. I've had enough of your attitude, your lies, your constant attempts to undermine my marriage. If you can't accept Robert and be grateful for everything he's done for us, then maybe you need to think about whether you want to be part of this family at all. The words hit me like a physical blow. I stared at my mother, this stranger wearing my mother's face, and realized with horrible clarity that she would never believe me. She would always choose him over me. I barely slept that night, crying into my pillow until exhaustion finally took over. When I came down for breakfast the next morning, the atmosphere in the kitchen was thick with tension. Robert sat at the table, looking unusually serious, while Mom stood by the coffee maker, her hands shaking slightly as she poured her cup. Sarah, Robert turned to my mother, I've had enough. I can't live like this anymore, with your daughter spreading lies about me and undermining everything I do. He paused, his jaw clenched. It's time for you to choose. Either she goes, or I do. My heart stopped. I looked at Mom, waiting for her to defend me, to tell him he was being ridiculous. Instead, she put down her coffee cup with a clank. You're right, she said quietly. I can't let her destroy our marriage. Then she turned to me, her eyes hard. Nicole, pack your things. I want you out of this house today. What? I whispered, hardly believing what I was hearing. Mom, you can't be serious. But she wasn't even looking at me anymore. She walked over to Robert and wrapped her arms around him, as if I had already ceased to exist. Something snapped inside me. Anger, hot and fierce, replaced the shock and hurt. Without another word, I stormed upstairs to my room. I grabbed my school backpack and started shoving clothes into it, tears blurring my vision. Then I remembered the money I'd been saving from my allowance and birthday gifts, about $300 hidden in my desk drawer. As I packed, a plan formed in my mind. Grandma and Grandpa. They were my only hope now. I knew their address in Florida by heart, we'd been there a lot. I grabbed my phone and looked up train schedules. I didn't say goodbye when I left. Mom and Robert were still in the kitchen, and I slipped out the front door without a word. At the train station, I bought a ticket with my savings, trying to look confident when the ticket seller gave me a questioning look. The journey to Florida took 2 days, with 3 different train changes. I spent most of the time staring out the window, trying not to think about what I was leaving behind, or about how scared I actually was. I bought sandwiches from station vendors and slept fitfully in my seat, clutching my backpack. Finally, exhausted and disheveled, I arrived in Tampa. My grandparents' house was a short taxi ride away. When Grandma opened the door, her jaw dropped. Nicole? Oh my God, what are you doing here? John, come quickly. Grandpa came running, and they ushered me inside, their faces full of concern. I collapsed onto their couch and told them everything, the conversation I'd overheard, Mom's reaction, and how she'd chosen Robert over me. She kicked out her own 14-year-old daughter, Grandma exclaimed, her face flushed with anger. Has she lost her mind? You traveled all this way alone? Grandpa's voice was tight with barely controlled rage. On trains? Anything could have happened to you. Grandpa pulled out his phone and started pacing the living room. I'm calling for an immediate audit of the company, he announced. But first, he dialed Mom's number and put it on speaker. Sarah, your daughter is here with us in Florida. There was a moment of silence on the other end. What? How did she? Never mind how. What I want to know is why my 14-year-old granddaughter had to travel across the country alone. And what's this I hear about Robert and some suspicious financial activities? Dad, please, Mom's voice turned sugary sweet. Nicole is just making up stories. She's been jealous of Robert since day one. Making up stories about foreign bank accounts and hidden shortages? Grandpa's voice was sharp. Oh God, is that what she told you? Mom gave a forced laugh. That's ridiculous. We just had an audit last month. Everything balanced perfectly, you can ask the accountant yourself. I intend to, Grandpa said coldly. I'm ordering a new audit. External auditors this time. Dad, you're overreacting. This is just a family spat. Nicole was being difficult, Anne. Difficult? Grandma cut in. Sarah, you threw your child out of the house. Mom, you don't understand. She's been trying to sabotage my marriage. We'll discuss this after the audit, Grandpa interrupted. And Sarah? If I were you, I'd start being very concerned about what those auditors might find. He ended the call and turned to Grandma. Helen, call Marcus at the accounting firm. I want their best team on this tomorrow morning. I excused myself and went up to the guest room, my new room, I supposed. Through the door, I could hear my grandparents' muffled voices discussing the company's future, legal implications, and what to do about Mom. My phone buzzed. Mom's name appeared on the screen. I knew exactly what was coming, so I quickly opened my recording app and hit record before answering. No, hello, no, are you okay? Just, Nicole, you need to tell your grandfather you made everything up. What? Listen to me carefully, her voice was urgent, desperate. Tell them you lied because you were angry at me. Tell them you never heard any conversation about money. But Mom. I love you, honey, you know I do. We all just need to cool down right now. This whole thing has gotten out of hand. I sat on my bed, phone pressed to my ear, listening to my mother try to convince me to lie to protect the man she'd chosen over me. The woman speaking didn't sound anything like the mother who used to check for monsters under my bed or kiss my scraped knees. She sounded like a stranger. There's something else you need to understand, Mom continued, her voice taking on an almost pleading tone. I talked to Robert after you left. My heart skipped a beat. I gripped the phone tighter, making sure the recording was still going. He told me everything, honey. And it's not what you think at all. She paused, as if choosing her words carefully. Yes, he did move some money to other accounts, but he wasn't stealing it. What? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He was saving it. For us, Nicole. For our future. Her voice grew animated. He has this wonderful plan. We could move to Europe, maybe Switzerland or Germany. Open our own business there. The three of us, together. Don't you see? He was trying to build something for our family. I felt sick to my stomach. By stealing from Grandpa? It's not stealing. Mom's voice rose defensively. Your grandfather isn't being fair to him. The salary he pays Robert is insulting for someone with his experience and qualifications. Robert was just setting aside what he deserves. What we deserve. We deserve stolen money? Stop saying that. She was almost shouting now. He's doing this for us, Nicole. For you too. Don't you want us to have a better life? To be happy? Happy? By running away with stolen money? You're too young to understand, she said dismissively. Sometimes adults have to make difficult decisions for the good of their family. Robert loves us. He wants to take care of us. By committing fraud? Enough, her voice hardened. Just tell your grandfather you made a mistake. Tell him you misunderstood what you heard. That's all you have to do, and everything can go back to normal. I ended the call and sat there for a moment, trying to process what I'd just heard. Then I grabbed my phone and walked downstairs to the living room, where my grandparents were still deep in discussion. You need to hear this, I said, holding up my phone. They listened in silence as I played the recording. Mom's voice filled the room, spinning her tales about Robert's noble intentions and dreams of a new life abroad. With each word, my grandparents' faces grew darker. When it was finished, Grandma put her head in her hands. Oh, Sarah, she whispered. What have you done? Grandpa just shook his head slowly. We trusted them. We thought family meant something. He looked at me with sad eyes. Your mother, she's so blinded by love she can't see what's right in front of her. Can't see how she's being manipulated. Like a cat in heat, Grandma said bitterly. No sense, no reason. Just blind devotion to a man who's using her. We sat there in the growing darkness. Outside, the Florida sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and reds, but inside, everything felt cold and gray. The next 2 weeks were a blur of accountants, spreadsheets, and mounting evidence. Grandpa hired Morton and Associates, one of the most respected auditing firms in the state. They sent a team of 5 people who practically lived in the company offices, going through every transaction with a fine-toothed comb. I wasn't there when they presented their findings, but Grandpa told me everything later. The numbers were staggering. $237,842 transferred to various offshore accounts over 18 months. The auditors had traced it all, every false entry, every manipulated record, every carefully hidden transfer. We need to show this to your mother, Grandpa said grimly. Though I doubt it will make any difference. They arranged a video call. I sat in the corner of Grandpa's home office, out of view of the camera, but able to see Mom's face on the screen. She looked tired, with dark circles under her eyes, but there was still that stubborn set to her jaw that I'd grown to know so well. The lead auditor, Mr. Harrison, shared his screen and began walking through their findings. He showed transaction records, bank statements, falsified documents, everything laid out in clear, irrefutable detail. As you can see, Mrs. Walker, he said professionally, these transfers were deliberately concealed through a complex series of false entries and manipulated records. Mom's response was immediate. Robert was saving that money for our future. He wasn't stealing it. Sarah, Grandpa's voice was heavy with disappointment, he committed fraud. Multiple counts of it. This isn't about saving for the future, this is criminal activity. You never appreciated him, Mom shot back. You never paid him what he deserved. I watched Grandpa's face change as something seemed to break inside him. He realized, as I had, that Mom was too far gone. She would never admit the truth about Robert, no matter how much evidence was presented. Enough, he said quietly. Here's what's going to happen. Robert has 24 hours to return every penny he stole. You will sign over your parental rights to Nicole, she'll live with us now. If you don't agree to both these terms, I'm taking this entire audit report to the FBI. Mom's face went white. You wouldn't. Try me. Grandpa's voice was steel. Your choice, Sarah. Either Robert returns the money and you sign away your rights to Nicole, or he goes to federal prison for fraud and embezzlement. I'm done watching you choose him over everyone else. This is blackmail, she whispered. No, this is mercy. More than he deserves. More than you deserve, after what you've done to your daughter. The money was returned within 12 hours, transferred back in a series of rapid deposits. Robert resigned from his position the same day. Grandpa immediately appointed Richard Bennett, an old friend with an impeccable business reputation, as the new CEO of Mitchell Electronics. The custody hearing was set for the following week. I had to attend, sitting there in my new dress, while lawyers discussed my future like I was a piece of property to be assigned. Mom was there, sitting beside her lawyer, but she never once looked in my direction. Not when the judge asked about the circumstances that led to this situation. Not when her lawyer presented her signed agreement to terminate her parental rights. Not when the judge officially named my grandparents as my legal guardians. As we left the courthouse, Grandma squeezed my hand. It's done, sweetheart. You're safe now. I looked back one last time, watching Mom walk to her car with quick, sharp steps, still not turning around. Still not looking back at the daughter she'd just given away. I'm 16 now, and my life with Grandma and Grandpa has fallen into a comfortable routine. I go to high school, where I'm on the debate team and write for the school newspaper. Grandma comes to all my competitions and events, just like Mom used to do. Grandpa helps me with my college applications. I'm hoping to study journalism at Northwestern or Columbia. Sometimes news about Mom filters through to us via relatives. She and Robert still live together, renting a tiny 2-bedroom apartment in a rundown area of town. They had to move there after Grandpa took back our old house. It had been company property all along. Last year, she had a baby with Robert. A little boy named James, though it makes my blood boil that they used Dad's name for their child. Aunt Karen visited them recently and told me Mom works as a receptionist now, while Robert jumps from job to job, never lasting more than a few months anywhere. His business expertise apparently doesn't count for much when you can't use your last position as a reference. I've tried to understand it. Spent countless nights lying awake, trying to make sense of how a woman could choose a thief over her own daughter. How she could give up everything, her parents, her home, her child, her dignity, for a man who stole from her family and made her throw away her firstborn. Love can make people blind, Grandma told me one night when she found me staring at an old family photo. But sometimes it's not really love, it's fear. Fear of being alone, fear of admitting you made a mistake, fear of starting over. Maybe she's right. Maybe mom is so desperate to prove she didn't make a mistake in choosing Robert that she'll sacrifice everything else to maintain that illusion. Or maybe she really does love him more than she ever loved me. I've stopped trying to figure it out. I haven't spoken to mom since the custody hearing. She's made no attempt to contact me either, no birthday cards, no Christmas presents, no messages through relatives. It's like I've ceased to exist in her world, replaced by her new baby and her endless quest to keep Robert happy. But I'm okay with that. Really, I am. I have a good life here with Grandma and Grandpa. They've given me stability, love, and a chance to just be a normal teenager again. My grades are excellent, I have great friends, and for the first time in years, I feel safe. Sometimes people ask if I miss my mom. The truth is, I miss who she used to be, the mother who loved me unconditionally, who put me first, who would have moved heaven and earth to protect me. But that woman disappeared the day she met Robert, replaced by someone I don't know and don't want to know. So I focus on my future instead of my past. I have college to think about, and dreams to pursue. Grandma and Grandpa support every ambition I have, just like Dad would have done. They're my family now, the only family I need.